All right, hello everybody. Hopefully everybody's having a good day today. Wait a few minutes to see if we can get some more people to show up. See if we can get some more people to show up. All right. And I'm waiting to see. Let me look around and see. All right. We'll wait here, wait just to see more people show up. Everybody wants to be a champion. Everybody wants to show their skills. Everybody wants to get there faster, make their way to the top of the hill. Each time you try, you're gonna get a little bit better. Each step you climb, one more step up the ladder. It's a whole new world we live in. It's a whole new place to see. It's a whole new way with a brand new attitude, but you still gotta catch 'em all. Be the best that you can be. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. It's a whole new world we live in, but you still gotta catch 'em all. Be the best that you can be. Born to be a winner, Johto. Born to be a champion. Born to be a winner, born to be the very best. Pokemon Johto. Born to be a winner, Pokemon. Meet George Jetson. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. His boy Elroy. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Daughter Judy. Jane, his wife. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Flintstones, meet the Flintstones. Have a yabba dabba do time. From the town of Bedrock, there's a place right out of history. That's right, with the family down the street. Rudolph, courtesy of Fred's old heap. When you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba dabba do time. A dabba do time. We'll have a gay old time. Hong Kong Phooey, number one super guy. Hong Kong Phooey, quicker than the human eye. Boom, 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 boom. Anyways, let's see. Come along with the snorks. Swim along with the snorks. Waiting for so much to see, waiting for you and me. Have some fun with the snorks. If you could breathe underwater, where would you go? And if you had friends underwater, who would you know? Come along and sing along too, yeah. Come along with the snorks. Swim along with the snorks. Waiting for you and happy to be. Have some fun with the come along with the have some fun with the snorks. Let's see now. What else can we sing here? Do we wait? Let's see. We're tiny, we're toony, we're all a little loony. Tiny Toon Adventures, come and join the fun. Now that Dennis the Menace. Dennis the Menace. Do 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 do. Partly metal, partly real. Silver hawks going through the highways of the heavens in their line. The silver hawks are ranging through the night. Hear the magic Feel the roar. Thundercats are loose. Thunder, 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 Thundercats. Thunder, 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 Thundercats. Sometimes some crimes go slipping through the cracks, but these two gumshoes are picking up the slack. There's no case too big, no case too small. When you need help, just call Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Red and white and blue, Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Red, white, and blue, Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Oh-ee-ay, tailspin, oh-ee-oh, tailspin. Friends for life through thick and thin with another tailspin. Oh-ee-ay, tailspin, oh-ee-oh, tailspin. Friends for life through thick and thin with another tailspin. Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. It's a duck blur. Might solve a mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales, woo! When you know that you've been saying DuckTales, woo! Granted that it's a danger lurks behind you. How to find you when you grab onto some DuckTales, woo! Every time that you are making DuckTales, woo! On Moon Mesa, where the cowboys roam, everyone on the coast of the West. On Moon Mesa. Okay. So when we hit the 8-minute mark, I guess I'll go ahead and kind of start getting things underway here. So. Okay, now we're at 8 minutes. All right. So, anyways, so here's what's on tap for tonight. I'm gonna redo the Tom King article from last night, as I don't know how much of it you guys saw because of the technical issues that started up during the stream. Then we'll also hit another comic art. So we got, let's see, 3, and then of course some wrestling roundups. So 3 articles and 3 roundups, as it were. That's pretty much what's on tap for tonight. Hopefully, we won't have any issues tonight. I did what I could to try to rest my computer up as much as possible. Um, so, with that, let's see. Anything else to talk about before we get going here? I'm just trying to check some stuff here real quick before we get started. And we will get to the articles here soon enough. All right, so we will be getting going here pretty quick now. So, without no further ado, why don't we go ahead and get started on on the news articles. As I said, we're going to go back and so kind of a refresher of an article we did last night, and then we're going to go ahead and do and of course we'll go ahead and continue on with some newer stuff as we get going here. All right, so hello. Thank you for popping in. If you can like and share the stream, of course. I am going to be getting started with the art. Mike messages me as I'm watching. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to get people here as quickly as possible, my friend. I didn't know you were watching yet, so but anyways, um all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started then. As I said, we're gonna do a redo of the last article I was doing last night because I don't know how much of that you're watching, and one more comic article, then and I'm finally gonna do the Damon Mills story. Hopefully, unless of course, knock on wood, I start having problems again. But I hope not to do that. No, not that doesn't happen tonight. Then some wrestling roundups, of course, and then we will. So first off, we're gonna go back to this article from last night because, as I said, I didn't finish it. So just start from go here. So here we go. Tom King does all kinds of nasty, sick things to Green Lantern Guy Gardner in DC Comics. With a headline like that, we're thinking he's gonna try to pull a John Ridley, kind of do what John Ridley did to Superman in a way. Article by Spencer McCauley, published yesterday. So here we go. Tom King's signature brand of subversion via character assassination has come for the Justice League International, as between the pages of his current run on DC Comics' latest volume of The Human Target, the notoriously edgy author has both metaphorically and literally killed the character of founding team member and fan favorite Green Lantern Guy Gardner. Of course he did, because Guy doesn't fit into his ideological mold. Let's see now. Let's see. All right. Featuring illustrations by Greg Smallwood of Moon Knight Volume 8, King's DC Black Label Human Target series opens with Christopher Chance in a case of mistaken identity, poisoned with a near untraceable toxin while standing in for Lex Luthor during a public appearance. With only 12 days left to live, Chance sets out to uncover the identity of his accidental killer and solve the mystery of his own murder, only to quickly learn from the Justice Society's Dr. Midnight that the poisoning circulating through his system could only have originated from a member of the JLI. Now, as always, guys, as I'm reading the article, if there's anything you guys want to comment on, I guess here's from the Human Target, Volume 1, Number 2, Chapter 2, We Cry. And that's Dr. Midnight on the left there, just to let you guys know. Let's see. Soon after beginning his investigation, Chance is met in his office by JLI member Tora Olafsdottir. Now, her real name is, of course, Tora Olafsdottir. Her code name is Ice. Just she has ice-based powers. Much like Iceman in Marvel Comics, X-Men. So, who, after learning of the plot to kill Luthor from a worried Dr. Midnight, approaches the dying man to offer her help in investigating her former teammates, primarily to keep the authorities from misattributing the crimes to her best friend, Beatrice Fire de Costa. Beatrice de Costa is her real name. Fire is her code name, and She's also been known as Green Flame at times because she turns green. Her fire is colored green for some reason. But anyways, recalling her death at the hands of the Overmaster during the 1990s DC crossover Judgment Day, Ice informs Chance that a subsequent investigation by Gardner into the villain's attack revealed that Overmaster came because Lex reached out to him. Here's some Here's something like checking off a list here. Justice League Task Force Volume 1, Number 14, Judgment Day, Part 5, The Longest Yard. Words by Mark Waid, and I already went through all this yesterday. Um, I told Fire what Guy had said, she says. She went off she was going to she says a lot of things. She's hot-headed. She doesn't mean it, but that day she said she wanted to kill Lex. Mhm. But I knew she didn't, she adds. I knew she wouldn't. She's angry, but she's not a killer. If you know her, and I know her. Their first evening together soon ends with them sharing a kiss while swimming in the ocean. I guess that's Chance right there. The next morning, much to his surprise, Chance awakes to find an angry gardener sitting at the foot of his bed. Depicted as a stereotypical, violently jealous ex boyfriend, the red headed Green Lantern promptly proceeds to voice his disapproval of Chance's blossoming relationship with Ice, questioning his romantic rival. Quote, I heard you were hanging around with my girl. What's your problem, man? As Chance attempts to shoot Gardner in self-defense, the latter deflects the bullet with his ring, taunting the spy. You think you're a smarty, you know just all about Ice, smarty. Let me tell you, you got no bleeping clue who that bleep is before beating him unconscious with a handful, no pun intended, fist shaped constructs. Yeah. Why would he need to make fist constructs to beat a guy up? I mean, this is a mortal he's dealing with. He could easily do it with his own fist. But then again, that's probably Tom King trying to prove what a jerk off he is by showing a fan favorite character abusing his power, trying to, as they put it here, character assassination. Let's see. After the spy awakens from his beating, he and Ice prepare to meet their first lead, making their way to his car and setting a destination for Booster Gold. Stalking the hero to a red light, Gardner once more inserts himself into the situation, pulling up alongside Chance's car and proceeding to speak once again like a bad movie stereotype of an abusive lover. Oh boy. Nice, baby. I'm just doing what's best for you, cries Gardner. You know me, I know you. You don't know him. There's nothing more important to me than you, baby. We're forever, you and me. How many times did we say that? I remember you saying it to me. Don't you remember? Her face right there just tells it all, it looks like. And no, she's not old. That's her believe it or not, that's her natural hair color, ice colored or platinum blonde or whatever you want to call it. White, white, you know, not that she's old or getting old or anything like that. That's her natural haircut. Well, mom beats him good. ah. hmm Anyways, as we continue on with the article here, following their meeting with Booster, the pair again find themselves face to face with Gardner, who this time has disassembled Chance's car in a childish attempt to offer Ice a ride. Oh boy. Oh boy. What the hell is wrong with you, guy? Uh, Later that same night, Gardner is shown bursting into Chance's hotel room, using his powers to attack him, only coming to a stop thanks to his friend's impersonation of Hal Jordan, as made possible through a combo of his personal identity masking technology and Booster's Legion of Superhero flight ring. Yeah, so of course Tom King trying to assassinate Guy's character here. That's basically what's going on here. Hansen continues his investigation, gleaning further leads from his individual meetings with the Blue Beetle and Martian Manhunter, and growing ever closer to Ice all the while, eventually giving into their feelings and sleeping with each other. Well, thus far, at least he's not pulling a John Ridley. He's just trying to assassinate. He's not trying to torture and assassinate Guy Gardner physically. He's trying to torture and assassinate his character. Hmm. Unsurprisingly, this does not sit well with Gardner, who in the series' recently released sixth issue breaks into Ice's home the following morning to further attempt some sort of violent possessive control over his ex girlfriend. Bad baby. Bad, bad, bad. He has Gardner talking to him like a dog. Tom King has Guy Gardner talking to Tora like she's a dog. Oh boy. That's going to go over well with people. A lot of fans. Wonder how much this series is actually selling. Condescends Gardner amidst a flurry of blows. Quote, you need to learn what's good for you. Yeah, Tom King should really be writing comic books, shouldn't he? Finding herself fed up with his obsessive behavior, Ice then unleashes the full might of her cryokinetic powers, literally freezing Gardner in his tracks. Making his way to his feet, Chance takes advantage of Ice's rage to deliver a single straight punch to Gardner's head, shattering it completely. Ooh. So basically, Ice and Chance just killed Guy Gardner literally there. So they assassinate his character, and they assassinate him. With a tap of her hand, Ice proceeds to finish the job, pushing Gardner's body over and allowing it to shatter on the floor. Well, without a head, he's dead anyways. Yeah, Tom King's a real piece of work, isn't he? This really should not be in a DC comic. It is on this floor, paired against a wordy diatribe from King, near explicitly spelling out his already heavy handed allusion of Gardner as a violent ex who was killed after pushing his victim too far. That the Guardians' first choice to protect Sector 2814 ultimately melts away into nothing. Yeah, Tom King, we're doing this, among other things, is a gigantic horses, you know what. With Gardner's corpse disintegrated, the two then proceed upstairs to her bed, unquote, sleeping with each other before Chance turns his attentions back to his investigation. Yeah, Tom King's a real jerk here, isn't he? He kills off Gardner, then like it's nothing, like it's nothing, like it's something you should, like basically it's something that I think what he sent. I think he's once again sending a very bad message here, and all the women in the world should go out and kill men. Hmm. So, anyways, as we're continuing on here. Oh yeah, and if you can like and share the stream, if you haven't already, I'd appreciate that. I read that. What do you make of King's character assassination of Guy Gardner? Let us know your thoughts on social media. Yeah, I think it's a pretty garbage thing to do there. That's what I think. That's what I think. Get to this next article here. Let me check some things here real quick. All right. Anyways, all right. So getting on to the next article, and this is the first one that came out for today. Where are we at on time here? 28 minutes. Okay, so we're making good time thus far. All right. Superman takes part in Pride Parade, waves LGBTQ plus flag on cover of Action Comics 1044. Yes, because that is the best way for Superman to use his powers, isn't it? Now, granted, we know that probably Jonathan can't, but still, if this is Clark, then it really is a garbage thing to do. But I think it's more like Jonathan Kent here, or John Kent. Article by J.B. Augustine published earlier today. DC Comics writer Tom Taylor gave Twitter users a preview of what's coming in Pride Month from Action Comics. Of course he did. The guy who believed um, that Superman coming out as bi would be a big seller. Wasn't for long. The issue count reaches 1,044 in June, and it will put a spotlight on the young Jonathan Kent, who recently inherited the cape and is written as bisexual. You almost get the impression this might be Tom Taylor's own personal wet dream, but we know that DC Comics is dying. If it's not dead yet, but it's getting there, and it's garbage like this. That's why. The issue will have two variant covers, and one of those is a DC Pride special by Derek Charm, showing John flying by a crowd at a Pride event. Standing up front are his parents, Lois and Clark, smiling and proudly. Oh, that's an even dig. That's even more of a dig right there into basic. Again, there's more propaganda right here. There's more agenda pushing propaganda. Okay. Not only do they have what they are calling the current Superman, but they have now the former Superman in a art where he's giving his tacit approval to all this. You see, the reason DC's doing this kind of garbage, and Marvel as well, is they're using the reason they don't create new characters to do this is because it would be a lot easier to make things more acceptable if an already established character accepted it. If somebody can say, well, Superman thinks being gay is okay, so I can too. It's a form of propaganda. It's what a lot of these celebrities do as well. They use their power of celebrity, power of influence, to push this kind of garbage. Let's see. Smiling and proudly supporting their son by holding a pride flag emblazoned with a white Superman logo. Quote, John Kent with a proud Clark and Lois looking on, unquote, Taylor wrote in his post. The Derek Charm DC Pride cover to Action Comics 1044 Superman. Oh God. The reason I stopped at the picture here is because I'm looking at Clark. Clark looks even like nerdier and weaker than he usually looks, and he's usually been depicted as. That's another form of character assassination. At least from my vantage point, it's almost like they're trying to make him look even weaker there with that art. His thread is full of glowing supporters who like Charm's art and approve of the symbol for LGBT pride John Kent has become. But of course, the praise comes a little too late as it doesn't reflect in the series for Superman in the as it doesn't reflect in the sales for Superman book for sale, which we've been seeing. You know, yes, there was an initial kind of perk in sales, but that was more speculators and the novelty of it. Okay, and Yellow Flash has talked about that. I know Tug may have touched upon it a little bit, but yeah. So, anyways, moving on. There. As of the beginning of March, Taylor's Superman slipped out of the top 50 on the sales chart after issue number 5. The issue where John came out briefly cracked the ICV2 charts top 10 in November. This led him to defend the comic sales. Yeah, again, though, that initial initial peak there was due more to the fact it was a novelty. Speculators were buying up the comics because they thought that it would be a collector's item at some point, but it's not really the case. Quote, I don't believe a story's worth is measured by its sales, he tweeted back in January. Quote, but our Superman is selling pretty well. Issue number 5, where John Kent comes out as bisexual, made the top 10 comic sales for November. Superman Son of Kal-El is the same series that changed the Man of Steel's age-old motto to for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, and made him a climate activist in a multiverse teeming with hospitable planets and infinite Earths. Yep. And as also illustrated in the Super Friends cartoon back in 1973, Superman actually has the power to pretty quickly take care of climate change if Earth were to ever actually, you know, I mean, we even saw this in a Super Friends episode back in the 70s. The first Super Friends episode, the first Super Friends series back in 1973, where Superman, Flash, where uh, an alien from another planet, where they needed to be warmer than Earth, came to Earth to try to force Earth closer to its sun, to fit their needs, because they had basically trashed their entire planet. And in that Super Friends article, once the Flash had been able to run a wire around the whole planet to get it to come back to its own orbit, Earth's orbit. They found the alien, went to his home world, and Superman, Aquaman, and Flash all cleaned up their world, and they learned their lesson, and you know decided to take care of their own planet rather than try to steal somebody else's. It and the editorial overhaul of the motto were also notoriously the last straw for colorist Gabe Eltabe, who quit in protest. Since then, he's joined the chorus of outspoken creators critical of DC's woke agenda and corporate policies regarding diversity. And we are seeing it reflected in the sales. We've seen it more recently with the fact that Warner is even getting tired of DC's annex, kicking them out. Now, if I understand correctly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but not kicking them out of one building, but apparently kicking them out of two buildings. I don't know if they were just moved. They were moved out of the. I think they were moved out of the main Warner Brothers building to another. But I don't know if it's that building or another building that they were forced to move into, where they now got the hot desk model going. So L-Tape is the latest to give Indiegogo a try for his new line of patriotic characters, Truth, Justice, American Way. Written by Philip Kennedy Johnson and drawn by David Laflamme and Riccardo uh, Federici. Action Comics number 1044 is 32 pages with a cover price of $4.99. Quote, the War World Revolution is here, unquote, says the summary provided by Lunar Distribution. Quote, with the Genesis Stone feeding Kal-El a portion of his long dormant power, the quest to overthrow Mongols' tyrannical rule is well underway. But can Superman convince the war-torn combatants of this hellish nightmare planet that kindness can beat cruelty. It continues, quote, all this plus Midnighter stabs some fools who had it coming. Then, in a world without Clark Kent, smaller quotes, Lois, John, and John Henry Irons, K. Steele, convene to unlock the secrets of a mysterious Genesis tech, and Thou Law awakens. All right, so there we go with that one. Everything is going, and we're hey, Batgoat. Tonight, right now, the connection's working thus far. Hopefully, you're having a good day. If you can like and share the stream, that'd be of help. That would be of some help. Um, as always, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. So we get some more people in here. Um, with that, I'll move on to the next article I'm doing for tonight. This will be the last article I read tonight. And of course, this story's been going around the last few days. Of course, I've been meaning to cover it, but with the technical issues I've been having of late, it's been an uphill climb to get to this point. So, excuse me a moment. Chloe is barking again, so I'm gonna have to go tend to her real quick. I'll be right back. Actually, go with what I that sounds more animated. Anyways, I'll be right back. Alrighty then, I'm back now. Thank you all for being patient and ready to talk with the dog. Um, anyways, like I said, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be Appreciate it for the connection holding up thus far. So anyways, now let's get to next article here. Anime industry members reportedly attempted to pressure Anime News Network into removing coverage of molestation accusations against Damon Mill. Article by Spencer Cooley. This was published back on the 20th or back on Tuesday here. And of course, I know a number of people have been talking about this already. I know Crumbion has been, um, Crumbion has been covering this. Troy Bounty Hunters, Crows of Judgment, even Flash, and I think Tug have also talked about this a little bit. What's been going on here? So let's get into this article by Spencer McCauley from a couple days ago. Let's see where are we at on time? All right, 40. Hey, back go. All right. Following an anonymous individual's leveling and retraction of his claim that Funimation anime dub voice actor Damon Mills had molested him when he was just 15 years old, a new development alleges that the entire situation saw unethical and, quote, direct interference by industry members, unquote, who sought to have the original coverage of the story erased from public memory. So apparently, one of the other VAs and ADR directors from Funimation, and according to Crumbion now this is only her speculation, mind you. Her speculation was it was possibly David Wald, but that's only speculation, though. So, but anyways, but there was somebody, one of the VA slash um, ADR directors, apparently had sent tried to get them to remove all the stories about the coverage. Okay, so on March 19th, which was last Saturday, Anime News Network executive editor Lindsay Loveridge, who brought the anonymous man's claims to widespread attention, after speaking with him earlier this month, took to her personal Twitter account to announce that she had something, quote, to say about the recent Mills articles because it bothers me enough that I have trouble sleeping, unquote. Quote, during the week of the retraction and then subsequent admission of fabrication, began Loveridge. Now, mind you, it's believed that the only reason he retracted is because he was pressured to. He didn't want to come. He didn't really want to become public with it. Um, he just, he didn't want to come. He didn't want to go public with the accusations. So, and he didn't want to file a police report. So that's all that's going on right now. Let's see. All right, so began Lindley referring to the anonymous man's apparent March 17th, last Thursday, reveal that he made his initial claims because he wanted Mills, quote, to feel sorry for just abandoning me, unquote. Quote, a voice actor and ADR director attempted to get ANN to take our art. I think, and somebody else mentioned too, I think it's supposed to say take down our articles. The person stated that if we didn't, Mills may commit suicide and we would have to write about that. So basically, what they're basically trying to do, they're trying to guilt ANN into taking down the articles. They're trying to silence people all around, trying to make it all disappear. You know, they're basically saying that. Well, he's thinking about committing suicide. If he commits suicide, it's your fault. That's basically what they're saying there. they're trying to do there. The veteran A&N staff member further recalled, quote, the day of the retraction, Duncan, in brackets, a pseudonym used by the individual during his conversations with Loveridge, unbracketed, was doxed, and if the screenshot is authentic, the person that did so probably already knew who he was, or at the very least, shared a mutual friend with him on Facebook, unquote. Um, I'm going to step away from I'm going to go off camera here for a moment. I'll be right back. But here's some music to keep you guys entertained while I'm gone. All right. Anyways, back to the article, of course. Quote, I can say with certainty that the legal communications between Duncan Mills and his lawyer were shared within the industry, unquote, she revealed. And we do kind of know that because I know from Crumbion's coverage of it, as well as Toy Bounty Hunters, I think they both mentioned that Ron Toye had, I guess, had shared information that could have only come from those documents, apparently. So I think they had mentioned that some of what he was saying may have indicated that he himself had seen those documents. Uh, she revealed, quote, the ADR director VA had information about those communications that would only be gained by reading them. This includes Duncan's email, unquote. Quote, I know this email was shared because Duncan asked me if I had shared it, unquote. Loveridge continued, quote, of course I had not. It is possible, but not provable outside of it being shared by Duncan, in parentheses there, that he got the same communications A&N did about removing articles, that doing so could result in a suicide. All right, it does look like things are getting dim here, so I'm gonna go off camera one more quick sec to do that. So hold on a sec while I do all that. Right. So, all right, back to the article. And if you guys can, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people here. That'd be appreciated. Um, anyways, okay. She then told her readers, quote, the letter stating the allegations were fabricated came a few days after the retraction and was again worded in a way in hopes we would take the articles down, unquote. Um, quote, for the industry members and others who were pursuing that end, that's not how journalism works, unquote, declared Loveridge. Quote, in the time since my publisher took over A&N, we have only taken down two articles, two in 20 years. Oh, when George Takai was accused, and then in brackets, his accuser recanted, those articles were not taken down, unquote. She adamantly noted, quote, they were updated. Same with Kevin Spacey. Sorry, guys. Chloe's barking again. I got to go deal with her. I'll be right back. All right. Anyways, thank you guys for the like and share. We can get some more friendly people in here. All right. So continuing on with the article. Quote, they were updated. Same with Kevin Spacey. Um, quote, history doesn't cease to exist when the story changes, unquote. Which is true. That is a very true statement. Fact is that the guy did make the accusation. Okay. Um, even if he did, even if that's the thing, people are still talking about it because they believe that the retraction was kind of a pressure retraction, right? In which he was pressured to retract. He didn't really want to come public with this. Um, he just supposedly wanted Damon to, because Damon himself, and I know this is something that Crumbion had pointed out. Damon himself, and I've acknowledged this before too. Damon himself, actually admitted that this stuff happened. He outright admitted this stuff happened. Um, he admitted that this stuff happened, that it was consensual. And, we're not going to get into the whole debate here, on like the legal ages or anything, like, on the legality and morality and all that. But anyways, but the fact that Damon himself had admitted that he had carried on this relationship, and everything was consensual, was, um, is kind of goes against Damon there. So Loveridge next admitted, quote, "Listen, I hate that a very toxic contingent of the internet jumped on this. I knew what would happen the moment the document came into my inbox in November. At that time, it was also sent to Sony and others." Unquote. So they've been sitting, and I know this is something that, again, Crumb Beyond had pointed out too. They've been sitting on this since November. They've been sitting on this stuff since November. So, they really didn't want it to come out, I guess. Quote, "I attempted to prep Duncan for this the best that I could, and moving forward, I don't know that I'll head articles like this in the future because I do not think I can adequately protect sources." Which is kind of a shame that she can't protect her sources, because you basically have these people who put pressure on them all to, like, you know and these are the same people, of course, who are saying believe all victims, except when it's a male victim, of course, except when it's one of their people getting called out for it. Now, as Toy Bounty Hunters had reported, the only person from Kick Vic that we know of so far who's actually come out and, kind of chastised Sony and Damon over this is LJ Montello. I know that Toy Bounty Hunters found some tweets that she had come out and said some stuff in regards to all that. So let's see. She said, quote, "specifically because of third party interference on two ends." Yeah. What I'm guessing is, obviously, from those trying to protect Damon as the one end, and another end, her own bosses trying to put pressure on her as well. Maybe. I don't know though. Quote, "The direct interference by industry members is especially unfortunate because it feeds into a larger toxic narrative," um, unquote, a frustrated Loveridge asserted. Quote, "So does the admission of fabrication. Frankly, I don't trust a large number of people anymore, but I do trust my gut." So she believes that the accusations may have been true. So basically, what this is all pointing to is that Duncan, whoever he is, was pressured to make the retraction and say it was a fabrication. Um, he didn't want to go public, probably over fears of, one, that he may get branded, being gay, and if he's not gay, probably something he doesn't want to be branded with. And also, he didn't probably want to deal with the potential numerous forms of harassment he would get for it. So, especially from those around Damon trying to protect him, them going after him to try to, get him quote unquote canceled. Anyways, ultimately, she made clear, quote, I was often able to helm these articles because I don't have allegiance to anyone outside of my own integrity. And regardless of what others may think, I still have that, unquote. Some people might, I know Crumbion kind of questions that a bit, but quote, addendum. It's entirely possible that this situation would have ended the same way, but we'll never truly know due to active attempts at interference, and that's what pees me off. She briefly added, before quelling rumors, that one of the involved industry members was Vegeta voice actor Chris Sabat. There are a lot of people who thought Chris Sabat might have been the one, but according to Crumbion's coverage, she believes it was David Wald, and she claims that David Wald has a thing for Damon. Maybe he wants to be with him, whatever. Now it is pretty a known fact that David Wald is gay. Okay, um, and here she says here, quote, "Oh my God, it is not Chris Sabat, you absolute weirdos." She concluded. Now, why would she have to respond like that, though? She could have just simply said, "No, it's not Chris Sabat." Why'd she have to go? You absolute. What would be so weird about Chris Sabat being suspected of doing that? Considering he's one of the head guys at Funimation, he's part of that little cadre that went after Vic. So, given the roundabout, never developing nature of this situation, it should be explicitly noted that Loveridge's claim of unprofessional behavior from the Western anime industry does not involve putting any pressure on Duncan to recant, which, for all intents and purposes, appears to have been done of his own accord, but rather specifically their attempts to have her pull her articles concerning Mills from publication. Well, it is believed though that his recanting was due to being pressured. That that's what is generally believed by most in the commentary. I believe a lot of people in the commentary community. Okay, I guess her issue here is the fact they were trying to. In other words, there are people around Mills who are trying to bury the story. They're trying to bury it, make it disappear, make it go away. So and from what I understand, Mills has kind of gone into hiding a little bit too, um, to try to quell all this as well. So, what do you make of Loveridge's thread? There's no yet. Yeah, I think I think she's kind of was in a tight spot there, but she's not going to pull down the articles first off. She's not going to help them make it disappear, and they're not happy about it. So, anyways, we're at like an hour and 9 minutes now. But some other little roundups I want to do on the pro wrestling side of it. So so here we go with the wrestling news here. So on the WWE end of it, so one of the big stories that's been coming out is that Cody Rhodes Cody did sign back with the WWE. They're still trying to figure out what they want to do with him. Whether or not in just under 2 weeks, or just over a week away. Sorry, over a week away. Whether or not he's going to actually be at WrestleMania. Some people are suggesting that he may be taking on Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins also is looking for an opponent for WrestleMania. WrestleMania this year, of course, is going to be held over 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday. So We've heard about the the Austin Owens scenario, possible title unification match. There's a lot of stuff going on there in that. So, and then also one of the other interesting little tidbits I've heard too is that I don't know if it's still going on, but there's apparently Sable, aka currently Rena Lesnar, um, Brock Lesnar's current wife now, former wife of Mark Merrow, has apparently been banned from being mentioned on WWE television or at any WWE event. Apparently, this comes off of an interview that Tori Wilson recently did, in which she was told, I guess, at her Hall of Fame induction back in 2019, not to mention Sable at all. Now, whether or not she still is banned from being mentioned on TV, that'd be kind of hard to do, considering that of course Sable, aka Rena Lesnar, is Brock Lesnar's wife. So there is a chance you might actually see her there with Brock. Fans are going to see her there. They're going to mention it. But that's pretty much all that's going on there. So let me also talk a little bit about All Elite Wrestling. As Dynamite was last night. So they're building up the Wardlow MJF feud right now, in which Wardlow is still technically under contract to MJF. They're going to probably build towards where, and MJF last week kind of help keep the TNT title off of Wardlow. Came in and interfered in his match against Scorpio Sky after Wardlow had won the Face of Revolution match at the AEW Revolution pay-per-view. Among some other news bits there include so of course William Regal is now managing Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley, and they've decided to call their tag team the Blackpool Combat Club. These guys look pretty good together, and of course Bryan Danielson going by as a kind of his nickname going by his old wrestling name of the American Dragon. So this looks like a pretty good pairing. There is a possibility they might be pushing CM Punk to into a main event feud over the AEW title with Adam Page. Also, Thunder Rosa last week won the AEW Women's title over Britt Baker in a very volatile, hostile cage match. Now, also going on last night as part of Dynamite last night, and I don't know the results of it, but Sting, Darby Allin, the Hardy Boys teamed together to take on Matt Hardy's former associates in what was formerly known as the AF or AHFO, the and Andrade Hardy family offices. Now just simply known as Andrade family offices, as Matt Hardy was kicked out of that group and saved by his brother Sting and his brother Jeff Hardy, Sting, and Darby Allin. They were involved in a Texas Tornado match last night. Now, an 8-man Texas with AFO members, the Blade, the Butcher, and Private Party. Now, in a Texas Tornado match, it's where all members of the tag team are all in the ring at the same time. You don't tag in and out. Everybody's in the ring at the same time. And the first person team get the pin wins the match. So, and you're talking about having 8 men all wrestling all together at once in the ring, 4-on-4. That's that's going to be quite a task to ref, anyways. All right. Also, and in now moving on to NWA news. National Wrestling Night news. Um, the results of the Crockett Cup event from last weekend. Um, so for the most part, the majority of the title holders held on, retained their titles. Only a couple. So going through the so in the national heavyweight title match, Anthony Mayweather did retain the initial match, and then Jack Dane automatically called in the rematch clause and eventually won the title from Mayweather. So Jack Dane is your new NWA national heavyweight title holder. Um, the World Junior Heavyweight Championship was crowned um, with Homicide coming out on top over in a fatal four-way versus Darius Lockhart, Austin Aries, and Colby Carino. So Homicide of TNA fame from his time as part of the Latin American Exchange. In the title match for the World Women's Tag Team title, the team known as the Hex, Allison Kay and Marty Bell retained over Kenzie Page and Ella Envy. In the triple threat match for the World Women's title, Camille retained over Smiley Kyrie and Chelsea Green. And at the end of the match, her husband Tom Latimer came out and celebrated with her. And then in the match in the tournament, the Briscoe brothers won the tournament, having beaten the team known as the Cardonas, Mike Knox and VSK, as part of the Cardona in the semifinals, and defeating the Commonwealth Connection of Harry Smith and Doug Williams in the finals. Of course, the Commonwealth Connection had beat NWA World Tag Champion La Rebellion in the semifinals to reach the finals. Now you have two teams that can claim number one contendership to the NWA World Champions La Rebellion, as the Commonwealth Connection, Harry Smith and Doug Williams, do have a win over them. And of course, the Briscoe brothers have a win over the Commonwealth Connection, over a team that beat the World Heavyweight. So this could turn into a pretty interesting scenario in the NWA. And then Matt Cardona, with basically interference from his wife, ended up winning the match via disqualification, retaining his title via a disqualification win over Nick Aldis. So that's all that happened there. With that. So with all that being done and said, and at least from what I can tell, we're still doing pretty good on the connection. Don't seem to be having any problems tonight, so that's good. Before I start to close things out a bit here, was there anything you guys wanted to add to anything you guys wanted to comment on in terms of the articles I read, or anything we've talked about tonight? I'll give you guys a few minutes, and if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, that'd be appreciated. Also, don't forget, and Backgoat, I'll probably try to send you message sometime tomorrow. For tomorrow when we do the historical comic retrospect for tomorrow. And I want to give you guys a chance here, real quick, to see if you guys have anything you want to say on what we talked about tonight here before we start to wrap up. Okay. Going once. Going twice. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start winding down here. So since we weren't able to get to the This Day in Each History segment yesterday, we're gonna do 2 days worth today here. So we're gonna go back to yesterday and first off do what happened on this date in history yesterday on yesterday's date, which was the 23rd, and then we're gonna do today's date. So here we go. On yesterday's date, let's see. All right, 30 years ago from yesterday's date, March 23rd. Um, today is today is Thursday, February 24th, or I'm sorry, March 24th, 2022. We're going back to yesterday to Wednesday, March 23rd to look back on yesterday, um, yesterday's date in each history. So first off, for yesterday's date in each history, um, the last 30 years ago yesterday, the last regular broadcast of a WWF card, Madison Square Garden, is televised on the Madison Square Garden network. The main event is a tag team match pitting Hulk Hogan and Intercontinental Champion Roddy Piper versus WWF World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair and Sid Vicious. Now, before this, or prior to this, Madison Square Garden had pretty much been the main home for all the incarnations of the WWF, WWF, and I think even going all the way back to its days as Capital Wrestling Corporation. It was one of, I think, the Madison Square Garden was synonymous in terms of pro wrestling terms with pro wrestling in the northeast region of the United States. It was the main arena the WWE would use, and basically on a monthly basis, they would have a card from the Madison Square Garden that was usually just televised on local cable, local television there in the New York metropolitan area. So this was the last of those. This was the last of those regular events at the Madison Square Garden. I believe it dated all the way back to the days of the Capital Wrestling Corporation. So, except for a house show in 1997, the only broadcast from MSG from this point forward are either pay-per-view events or events aired on Monday Night Raw. So that's basically that basically happened on yesterday's date in terms of pro wrestling history. Let's see about. So also on yesterday's date in history. Okay, I don't know if any of you would have seen this. I never saw it, but on yesterday's date in each history, HBO Family's animated series, Harold and the Purple Crayon, finished its first run on this date back in 2002. So 20 years ago today, HBO Family's animated series Harold and the Purple Crayon. Night, 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 night. ATC. Glad he stuck around at least. So on this date, Harold and Purple Crayon, the HBO Family animated series, finished its run on this date back in 2002, 20 years ago today. Or not today, but yesterday. All right. Moving on to the next piece of each history from yesterday, as on yesterday's date in 2011, as I get it up. On yesterday's date in 2011, which was 11 years ago, the fifth and final issue of Meta 4 from Image Comics went on sale on that date for $3.50, and it was 32 pages. So, so yesterday's date, Meta 4, on 11 years ago today, or yesterday, 11 years ago yesterday, Meta 4 issue number 5 went on sale from Image Comics. The fifth and final issue there. There goes that one. And then on this date, 5 years ago today, the following animes concluded their run on this date 5 years ago today. The following animes concluded their run on this date 5 years ago today. Those animes were Silver Link's Masamune Kun's Revenge, Studio Gokumi's Seiren, and JC Staff's Orara Meirocho. Those three animes completed their runs on yesterday's date 5 years ago in 2017. So there we go for yesterday's date in each history. All right, so with that, now we will get ready to do today being Thursday, March the 24th. We will now get to today's date in each history. Okay, so starting off, on this day in each history, March 24th, going back to 1942, which was 80 years ago today, the fifth issue of Real Life Comics from Standard Comic went on sale on this date for 10 cents, 64 pages. So on this date, 70 years ago today, the fifth issue of Real Life Comics went on sale on this date yesterday. On this date, 70 years ago today. So now, moving on to the next piece in each history. I would like to wish a happy 60th birthday to Mr. Kazuki Akane. He's a anime director from the Osaka prefecture of Japan. Probably his most famous work is his collaborative co-directing with Shoji Kawamori on The Vision of Esclafone. So, happy 60th birthday to anime director Kazuki Akane. Hope he's had a good day today. Moving on to the next piece in each history for today. As on this date 25 years ago today, on the WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the Metro Center in Rockford, Illinois. This was the Raw right after WrestleMania 13. This is like the following night after WrestleMania 13. The main event saw Ahmed Johnson defeat Savio Vega, who had Clarence Mason crush JC Eyes and Wolfie D in his quarter by disqualification. The Rock defeated Leif Cassidy, in a six-man tag match or trios match. The team known as Los Cadetes del Espacio, or the Space Cadets, is translated, of Discovery, Supernova, and Venom, would defeat Abismo Negro, El Mosca, and Hysteria, as this was a point in time when WWE was experimenting with the idea of bringing luchadors in to WWE. As it would turn out, though, it would not fare too well with the not prove too popular with the WWF audience. So, continuing on then, as it were, get to our final piece in Niche history. As on this date in 2017, which was 5 years ago today, the regular episodes for Tangled the series debuted on Disney Channel. So Disney Channel's Tangled the series premiered on this date in 2017, 5 years ago today. So with that, everybody, I thank you all for being here tonight. Sure everybody will enjoy the replay, as I didn't have any connection issues tonight, so that's good. Hopefully I'll get that issue more permanently fixed sometime in the next couple days. Hopefully we won't have any problems tomorrow night either, when we do. So, Backgoat, I don't know if you're still here, but I'll be sending you the StreamYard link as soon as I can. Tomorrow night, of course, we're completing our coverage of November of 1938 on the historical comic retrospect. So until then, guys, bye.